Hi everyone, this is Steve Krause, and welcome to English 505 Online. The class is called Rhetoric of Science and Technology, and what the class is really about, it's a required course for people, the professional writing strand of the MA program, and it's a theory class. And it's a class about the rhetoric as a theory and how it applies to professional writing as a practice. So this is a little bit different from some of the other classes I teach. I tend to teach classes that involve some sort of hands-on computer thing. Some of you were in a class called Writing for the World Wide Web that I taught in the summer. Or for the Teaching of Writing program, I teach a class called Computers of Writing Theory and Practice, in which there's a lot of there's theory in that class too, but there's a lot of computer type stuff that we do. Like we learn how to make blogs, we learn how to do various things. This class the focus is actually in the theory part of things, and the goal is for you to get a handle on the theory and then try to find some ways to make some connection with practices. And I know that people are coming at this class from different places, both in the professional writing program and the teaching of writing program. So the kind of connections that you make are going to be based individually on the practices that you engage in. You've obviously found the class website, engl505.stephendkrause.com, and this is pretty much the place where most of the class is going to happen, except for the wiki site, which I'll get to in a second. But let me try to hit a couple highlights of the course description, which I'm looking at my computer right here while you're watching me talk about it. There's only one book that you need to get for the class, and that's this one, Aristotle's On Rhetoric. I have the first edition, which I think is better than the second edition, and you can get it for cheaper used through places like Amazon.com. Everything else we'll be reading will be available online or through e-reserves, and I have links to all that stuff on the class website. Most of you have already, actually almost all of you have already responded to the email that I send out warning people about the nature of the online class. I guess I'd just like to add two other things that I think I'll mention, especially for people who've never taken an online class before. The first thing is that it's not a self-study program. I mean, what I mean is that online classes provide a lot of flexibility. I mean, I'm recording this on the Tuesday night before the term begins. You might be looking at Wednesday morning or Wednesday evening or whatever. So we can work on the same thing at different times, but we're still working on stuff together. So it's not like you can just do everything yourself and not really communicate with other people. The other thing is that online classes take at least as much time, if not more time, to complete successfully. So if you thought for some reason that this would save you time, that's not even remotely true. You can shift time. You can fit it in your schedule differently, but it's not a time saver by any stretch of the imagination. So, just keep that stuff in mind as we get started with the class. Better to know this stuff up front, and if you feel like you're getting yourself in over your head with the class, let me know, and we can, figure out what to do about it. Basically, the class is divided up into 3 sections plus a final. I'll talk about the final in a second. Participation, collaboration, work on the wiki, and the research project. And each of those 3 sections is worth 30%, and they're each worth 30% because they're all equally important. The one thing I'd like to highlight for now is, there's 2 things I want to highlight for now. One is that the collaboration participation will take place both on this website, which is the class blog site, and it'll also take place on the class wiki site, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the thing that's really important about participating in an online class, and this is especially important for those of you who've never taken an online class before, is that the only way that you can demonstrate that you're here and paying attention is to actually participate in the conversations. If it was a face-to-face class and you were sitting quietly but attentively, I could probably guess that you're paying attention and that you're just interested in what other people have to say. But if you do that in an online class, then you're not there. So just keep in mind that I expect people to participate in the class activities throughout the term. That means actually typing in comments on each one of the blog entries on the class website, and also means everyone participates on the wiki part of things. The wiki is an experiment this term, and basically what I'm imagining is a sort of collaborative note-taking place where we, instead of individually keeping, reading notes and making connections between different texts, we'll do this collaboratively in this wiki space. How is this going to go? I don't have a clue. I mean, I'm optimistic because to me it seems like a great idea because what better way to study together than to write together notes and questions and ideas about these texts. In practice, we'll see how it turns out. I'm hopeful that it's going to work out really well. But keep in mind, this is one of the aspects of the class that could evolve as the term goes on. So keep an eye on that. We'll work together to make that a good part of the class. The third chunk of stuff that's really important for the class is the research project seminar essay. This is something we'll be talking about throughout the semester. What you really want to be doing is analyzing some practice, either something in your day-to-day life, something that you see in the culture, something that you feel like needs to be analyzed, and apply some sort of rhetorical theory or theories to that practice or that that artifact. I know that seems kind of vague, and it is vague, but as the class goes on, it'll make more sense. The only thing you need to know about right now is that it's a project that it happens throughout the term. The first thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to set up a WordPress.com website. Now, it's a blogging software site, but we're not really using it as a blog per se. We're using it more as a notebook electronic portfolio. For those of you who already have a WordPress.com site, you'll want to set up another one specifically for this class. And as I explained in the course description, basically each week I'm going to ask you to post something that indicates some kind of update and progress on your research. Even if it's, especially it's going to be at the beginning of the term, it's going to be kind of vague in terms of what exactly it is that you're doing. Anything is better than nothing. And to be really clear about this, I'm just trying to make sure that people don't wait until the last minute to do this. At about week 5 or so, I'm going to ask you to complete a working thesis proposal. Closer to about week 10 or so, I'll ask you to complete a progress report, and the final project itself will be due at the end of the term. And we'll talk more about all that as time goes on. And finally, there's a final. The finals were 10%, which obviously is not very much, but I think it's enough to make a difference in terms of a plus or minus as far as a grade goes. So the idea of the final is to keep everybody honest in terms of doing your best to keep up to the readings and making connections between things. And I see this as an opportunity for success. I'll distribute that electronically, obviously. At the end of the regular term, I guess it's December 11th, and it'll be due the last day of finals, which is December 18th. Okay, there's a lot more that I could say. In fact, I had to cut out a bunch of stuff that I had said before. But let me just close with 2 thoughts for now. One is take a look at the schedule, and you'll notice 2 things. One is that it's divided up through the course of the week between Monday and Wednesday activities and Wednesday and Friday activities. That means the idea is to start a discussion about a reading or a topic or something on Monday and finish it up on Wednesday, and then start the next one on the Wednesday and finish up on Friday. That way, we're all kind of working through this together and still have a little bit of flexibility in terms of time and have some version of a weekend, that kind of stuff. You'll also notice with the schedule that I'm not done yet, and that's actually intentional. I want to see how the first 5 weeks or so of the class go, and then make adjustments for the second half, 2/3, I guess, and we'll take it from there. Okay, I think that's a brief intro for now. YouTube kind of limits me to 10 minutes, and that's probably a good thing, because otherwise I would just keep babbling and babbling. So in the meantime, welcome aboard. Ask questions, introduce yourselves, post stuff underneath here. It's going to be underneath there someplace. And welcome to English 505 Online.